Oh, it's so wonderful to see you again. Come in and unwind. Welcome back to the Celestial Cafe, a podcast for the magical mind.
So come, take a seat. Would you like something sweet? A star drop potion for the soul? Maybe an enchanted eclair as a treat?
I just baked a batch of warm cookies with a dash of moonlight. I wonder what will happen if you take a little bite.
Here's your bewitching beverage. Let each sip melt your worries away. It's time to open your mind. I wonder what magic awaits us today.
And welcome back, everyone, to a new episode of the Celestial Cafe podcast. I am one of your hosts, Hey Shady Lady, and I'm joined by my lovely co-hosts, as usual, Dukesley, Fuchsia, and Panthera. And we've got a very special episode planned for you today. We're going to be chatting about energetic boundaries and cord cutting, toxic energy, and all those goodies. I'm so excited for this conversation. I've been looking forward to this episode since we picked this topic out. It's a subject I'm very passionate about and I struggle with greatly. So I'm excited to be here. How are y'all doing? Hello.
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 We're back again for another discussion around the Celestial Cafe round table. I'm happy to be here.
So we are a twice monthly podcast, and we meet up to discuss the full moon each month, and then a second time to talk about a variety witchcraft topic. And we're having a good time so far. We do record this live on Twitch, and we hang out with the Twitch chat for a little bit before we get into the recording. So if you would like to catch us live, it is at twitch.tv/HeyShadyLady, and you can check out our website at celestialcafe.org for information on when the next episode is going live. Or you could join our Discord server, follow us on Twitter or Instagram. The links are all on the website at celestialcafe.org, and we'd love to chat with you there. And we also put this up on YouTube as well. So if you want to see this in video format, you can catch the live at Twitch or watch it on YouTube. And we are available on podcasting platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, etc. And if y'all are listening on those and you could drop us a review, we would love you forever. Drop us a like on the YouTube videos. We're consistent. We're doing our good job at being consistent. And so now we're just trying to get ourselves out there a little bit. So if y'all are
we're showing up. Now you guys need to show up.
If y'all are enjoying what you're making and you want to help us out, sharing the podcast or leaving us a review, liking, commenting, all the good stuff to help out the evil overlords of the algorithm,
Subscribing on YouTube.
That would be great.
Get a nice custom URL.
That's a good first goal. Yeah.
Go ahead and join the Discord today, because we're going to do a special spell work event after stream tonight. We're going to do a kind of a letting go ritual to fit with tonight's theme. So it'll be very simple. It's a very flexible ritual. There is the ingredients needed in the Discord itself and the main announcements channel. Or this is a very flexible one. So even if you don't have like bay leaves, for example, or a safe place to burn, there's some alternative methods that we can talk about. So
yeah, it's exciting. I think it's our first group event in the Celestial Cafe Discord. So this will be a lot of fun. But yeah, so here at the Celestial Cafe, we do love our beverages. So what is everybody sipping today? We would love to know. Let us know in the chat or in the comments on YouTube. Today, I'm so excited because the grocery store that I go to has restocked my favorite probiotic soda, Olipop Strawberry Vanilla. Oh my God, it's delicious.
Very delicious.
And look, I'm wearing my strawberry sweater. It matches me perfectly.
Strawberry moment.
So yeah, it's so good. But yeah, sorry, it's a prebiotic soda, not a probiotic soda. But it's a sparkling tonic.
Prebiotic.
I'm assuming pre means before, so maybe you drink it before you eat, and it helps with digestion.
Oh, okay.
It's enzyme stuff.
So
for the biotics.
Yeah, it's good though because it doesn't have a lot of sugars, and it's got a lot of fiber, dietary fiber, and it doesn't have a lot of calories. It's very flavorful and tasty, and it's nicely carbonated. So it's everything I'm looking for from a carbonated drink. So delicious. That's what I'm sipping on. Of course, I have my water. I already drank my coffee earlier. It was a mocha frappuccino from Starbucks. Actually, I went to Starbucks today.
Yummy.
A mocha frap with oat milk. It was very yummy. Lots of sugar in that one, though.
I haven't had a frap since like college.
I've
Oh
been
my God.
really craving blended drinks lately. Normally, I'm like an iced coffee person, but I've been ordering blended drinks from Dunkin', and I like Dunkin' in general, but they don't do very good blended drinks.
No, they don't. I agree with that. I prefer running, but my closest Starbucks like an hour away. So
Oh Lord.
I'm lacking. Today I'm back on my bullshit. I took a break from crazy drinks for a little bit, but we're back. I got 3 drinks. I got my water. Classic water. I got my coffee for today. It's like coffee, air quotes. It's chicory tea that ends up coming like very dark, like coffee. It's very like earthy and very it tastes like coffee. It tastes like earthy coffee.
Yummy.
Essentially.
Yeah. Chicory tastes like roasted roasted coffee. Yeah.
And so it's like decaf and stuff, but it's raspberry mocha. Big. And my last one, I'm all about the Lipton Diet Green Tea Citrus. This stuff goes crazy. Like, it's so flavorful. It's so yummy. I just grab one of these every now and again. You get hella vitamin C. That's really all this has going for it, honestly. But it's awesome. Highly recommended. But that's what I got today. Those are my drinks of choice.
Delicious.
I do not have 3 drinks today for the first time like ever. I know. I did not. I'm sorry. I know we're the cafe, but I did not feel like making tea today.
That's valid.
So I have water, and I have a brand new water bottle. Literally just bought it.
It's so cute.
2 hours
it's
ago.
It's like a lilac purple.
Yeah, I dropped my other one too much, so it now spills on me when I try to drink from it. So I was like, I think I need to replace that. So I have a new unspillable water bottle, which is important for me because I have cats that like to knock it over. And then I just have my regular cherry Coke Zero.
Classic.
But I have my water, I have my hydration, and I have my caffeine. So,
That's all you need. The trifecta in its own way.
Of the trifecta. Yeah. So I did have 3 drinks, but I already drank one of them. I really needed caffeine, so I chugged this Pepsi. It's gone now. That was my pre-drink, and it is now past. I do have my water. And then I was also really lazy today and did not want to make tea, but I do have my fall beverage. I have apple cider.
Beautiful.
Yummy.
Local.
Aw.
It's so good. I love this brand. I've been waiting for them to come back in grocery stores. I check it religiously on the shelf.
What brand?
Peterson Farms. It's a local Ohio one. That's one thing I really like about our grocery stores up here is actually a lot of our produce and stuff are local from Ohio, and they tell you about it, where it's from and everything. So, which is really cool because it's hard to find, and local wines too. I bought a bottle of wine today. It's from one of the wineries right up the road, but I was able to buy it at the grocery store, which is really cool. It's a Harvest Spice wine. I'm so excited for it.
That's fun. Fall beverages hit different, I think, compared to other.
I don't know that I'm really the biggest fan of pumpkin drinks and cider and apple drinks and stuff. Not really big.
I love cider. I love cider and apple. I actually only last winter learned that pumpkin spice drinks are not actually pumpkin flavored. They're
it's a spice to flavor pumpkin.
Yeah, right? So this whole time, I hate the taste of pumpkin. It is one of the 3 things, 3 fruits and vegetables I cannot stand. So this whole time I've been avoiding pumpkin spice stuff because I thought it was pumpkin flavor.
Oh no.
So this year I gotta try some, see what it's all about.
Fuchsia was why does everyone like this bland so much? I don't get it.
People like pumpkin.
I've never actually had a pumpkin before. I don't know what it tastes like. I like pumpkin seeds.
I've never had a whole pumpkin.
My parents have a lot of pumpkin in the house because they make their own dog food and they put a lot of pumpkin. Not a lot, but they regularly put pumpkin in the dog food. So I've had some before, and then of course there's pumpkin pie and stuff that I've tried with.
I've had pumpkin pie,
but prior to the flavorings, just because I'm curious, you know. It reminds me of like eggplant and stuff like that. But not so much in the flavor, but in the feeling of it in your mouth, and it's
grainy.
It's fairly bland too. I mean, it definitely has its own, like, I would say even like pugnant flavor, but but it's I don't know. I'm not going to be like, let's go scoop out a bite of pumpkin. Like, you know.
I love it baked into things. Like, I have a pumpkin roll recipe that I really like, and I also do like a chocolate chip pumpkin bread. That's one of my like Samhain.
That sounds good.
Thing. And it's very good. It's kind of like a more fall-based banana bread is essentially what it is.
That's awesome.
So good. I love it. And I just love it. It's like baking season. I'm getting all excited.
I know. It's funny. I do tons of baking on Samhain. That's like my baking holiday. I love to bake the pies and breads and stuff. So I'm getting excited too. This is the time of year that I am just always in the kitchen.
Like a pumpkin cream cheese like muffin. Like I see Moon Token chat talking about. Sounds
the one at Starbucks.
Awesome.
Have you guys tried there? Like, it's like a pumpkin cream cheese muffin, and it's so freaking good.
No, I haven't tried it. I'm okay. Y'all are making me hungry. I haven't eaten dinner yet, so I don't have pumpkin, but I got these. These are my favorite things from Starbucks, and I get them whenever I can when I go. But they're chocolate covered graham crackers. They're dark chocolate covered.
Stop!
So
yummy.
They're actually awesome. I'm going to break this one in half, and I'll describe it for the podcast listeners. But look at the chocolate to graham ratio. Like
yummy.
It's like a graham cracker, and then the chocolate is thicker than the graham cracker. So it's a great chocolate to graham ratio, and it's
all you're missing is some marshmallow.
I'm okay with that. I like marshmallow.
Smush it on top. Oh.
But this is fun because it's just like a delicious chocolate burst, but then there's just a little bit of good crunchy in it. That's kind of why I like Kit Kats and stuff too. Is I like the chocolate, but I like the fun of eating the texture of a Kit Kat, or the crunchiness, the wafer.
I love Kit Kats.
So
Kit Kats are like F tier.
Celestial Cafe. It's appropriate.
Oh, they're S plus for me. Kit Kats, Reese's are S.
Oh yes,
Reese's are
Reese sticks though, specifically Reese's sticks.
No, not sticks.
They rule. They're so good. No, you know what else is awesome? The dark chocolate Reese's Thins. So because there's a really good chocolate to peanut butter ratio. I'm not a big like peanut butter person. So the reason I like Reese,
neither. The only time I like peanut butter is in a Reese cup.
I was gonna say the reason
I don't like it than anything else.
I'm allergic to chocolate. I have nothing to contribute to this conversation.
I don't even know a candy that doesn't have chocolate in it. A Skittle? Do you like Skittles?
Oh, I love Skittles. I love gummies.
Skittles have like a big recall or something lately, though. Wasn't that like a thing? Or gummies? Yeah,
I think it was Skittles because they've got like the red dye that they use is like, I don't know, I did something bad to your brain, or it alters our DNA or some shit. Like, oh my God.
Cool.
Yeah, but it's not just Skittles. It's something specifically with the red dye. And I think it's the red dye that's made out of the bug bodies, the little red bugs.
The carmine.
We've done that for a while. I think it has to do with the side effects of this dye. From what I heard.
So
I think it
fun
causes
times.
bad things.
Fun times.
Yeah.
But so it's appropriate that we're talking about snack food. It's a cafe called Celestial Cafe. We talk about drinks, we talk about pastries.
Halloween.
Yeah,
and it's Maven, and it's the Harvest Fest, so we're allowed to eat and talk about food.
So over the next couple of episodes, we'll probably be talking more and more about food, especially as like Thanksgiving and stuff rolls around, and it's time to start preparing all of these big meals. And so today's episode is not about food. Huh?
You might have thought so, but
What?
You're coming in with the 1-2, just like completely sideswiping you here.
Today's episode is actually about cord cutting and energetic boundary setting, which is one of my favorite subjects. I talk about it all the time. I'm getting better and better at implementing good boundaries, but it has certainly been, as a Pisces rising, the biggest struggle of my life probably is understanding the difference between me and you. Not have a hard time with it. So I'm really looking forward to this. I'm also looking forward to today I would like to touch on with like evil eye energy, toxic friendships, relationships, and moving on from those things and cutting that energy off and not letting it affect you. Obviously it's not like we can eternal sunshine of the spotless mind and just pull people out of our brain and never remember them again.
You can?
I don't think that I would want to, even if you could. I've thought about it. Okay. But I think that everything that I've gone through has created me into who I need to be. So I would not want to undo some of the things that I experienced. There was lessons in all of it. Right. So the purpose of this is to, hopefully help us catalyze some of this energy better and be able to move forward into the future, not weighed down by stuff that we've experienced or heavy, grungy energy. So how do we want to start our conversation about Dukes already has her hand up, so let's just pivot right over there. Take us away, Dukes.
I figure a good place to start is, what is a chord, right? And why do we need to cut them, right? Well, what's
defining
the
our
point of
terms?
this?
That's a good idea.
Yeah, let's break down exactly what chord cutting means. So the idea is that whenever we create connections with others, an energetic cord forms between ourselves and the other person. And what does that mean? To me, it's I think the best way to explain this is sort of like sit there with yourself and imagine what a chord between you and your best friend feels like, and
or a line of energy.
You can visualize. Yeah. You could feel it out. It doesn't have to be a visual thing. You might not see anything, but you can feel that.
You're going to start to have words pop up. Yeah.
You're going to have like feelings, maybe safety, comfort, fun,
banter.
Right. Silliness, all these nice words. And then you can think about the person who you ran into in the grocery store today, the stranger that you said, hi, because you accidentally bumped into them. Oops, sorry. Oh, it's okay. There's a chance there is no chord, or it's very faint. It's like walking under party streamers, and like there's like a connection. There's like that sweeping, but then it's gone. You know what I mean?
Those are the chords I cut as soon as I get home.
Yeah, true.
Don't want any of those chords.
Terms that we have for this in like day-to-day life is like emotional baggage, I think would be like the closest thing. Like if you think about like that term and what it means, it's very
and that
similar.
Doesn't have to be, that doesn't have to be in a negative context. Just it is stuff that we carry. Like
we collect it from our relationships with people over time,
and we carry it with
interactions with them.
And the ones that we're mostly going to be talking about today, the chords that we're talking about today, are dangerous
chords that we no longer want to be attached to or to carry that energy. Because the thing for me about them is, you might have like moved on from someone or left someone in your life or walked away from something, or the friend moved away, or they, but you're still thinking about them every day, or they're still, or maybe you don't think about them for a week, but then something pops up that reminds you of them, and then your stomach gets twisted into knots and your whole day is ruined and the next day is ruined and you're triggered. Right.
Right.
So I think it's something that I struggle with a lot. I like to feel like I've moved on from stuff, but then it just lingers. Do you have to let it linger? Yeah. So there's my first pop culture reference.
Cord cutting really has a lot to do with like, and we're kind of getting away from definitions now, but it's so closely entwined with like cleansing and energetic housekeeping kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So it's like when you just kind of shove those energies under the rug, just sweep it under the rug and not take care of it, it's still there, right? And it's still building and building and building, and you're sweeping more under the rug, and eventually you're going to have to deal with it. Now your rug is like a couple inches off
Your
the
rug
ground.
is up, and it's also creating like it's just
Tension.
dirty, and it's holding like there's more possibility for bacteria or whatever. Like I'm imagining like little dust bunnies gathering in the corner, and more and more and more, and then a spider starts to live in there, and then
and you can't bring anyone else in and let them
because there's so much junk everywhere,
and you're embarrassed. You're like, oh God,
It's shameful, right?
Yeah.
You feel shameful because you haven't taken care of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and something I talk about a lot is paper doll syndrome, which I think this is an extension of, where if we don't clear these pre-existing cords that have taught us core life lessons, such as telling the truth equals I get yelled at. Like that's a very core childhood experience for a lot of people. I tell the truth. I speak my truth. I'm met with animosity.
Expressing my emotions, I get in trouble.
Right.
Yeah.
And when we don't clear those cords that are created with others, it could go either way, where all of a sudden, like, it's easier for us to create cords with those people who also hold those values, who continue to like judge us upon us sharing our emotions, right?
Because we're familiar with
isolate.
it. Yeah.
Right. And I think that this is just pure energetic hygiene to cord cut. It should be a regular part of every practitioner's agenda. And dare I say, the average Joe as well.
I think so too. Yeah.
It's another thing I talk about a lot is how like spiritual energetic hygiene is so important for everyone. It just makes us more empathetic humans and more present in the moment, rather than constantly being reactive, constantly being triggered by valid things. Like all our traumas and all of our cords are valid and real. But it's also about being like, okay, enough's enough, and I'm going to protect myself today. And clear.
I want to back up a little bit about definitions and think about a cord and the umbilical cord between the fetus and the mother, the baby and the mother, the embryo and the mother, whatever. And then also think about this is maybe a little bit more like behind the veil, so like the average person wouldn't, but when you're you've got the etheric cord with like lucid dreaming, astral projection, and it's a cord that ties your spirit to your body, right? And it's similar to the umbilical cord that ties the child to the mother, and these are energetic cords. So let's pull it out of the spiritual jargon with it a little bit and just look at the scientific relationship of the mother to the child. And the sharing of nutrients, the swapping of energy, the cord that connects the mother to the child is what allows that child to grow. And in return, the child can have an effect upon the mother. I mean, if we're looking at it, and here comes my like cynical a little bit, but the child is a little bit of a parasite in this kind of role, right? It's siphoning energy off of the mother. It is a good parasitic relationship to have because it allows the species to continue growing. But by essence, it's the mother has to consume extra nutrients to provide for this thing that is feeding off of her, and then eventually it grows into its own self-sustaining human. Now, if we have that visual in mind with how our energetic cords attach to other people as well, not as obviously in depth or literal, definitely not literal, but you have cords attached to people, and there is an energy exchange that is happening. And and the other thing that's cool about this is that relationships evolve over time. So I could start a relationship with someone, a friendship, a mentorship, any type of ship word. It's not just romantic. I could be involved with someone and it starts out where I am siphoning energy off of them, like a mentor, like, oh, I'm learning and I'm gathering and I'm pulling from you, right? And then I grow enough that I start to be able to give back to them. So the relationship could evolve over time so that it's now no longer I'm just take from them, but we're on equals. And maybe in a certain point, I can start to give back. Some relationships start out equal, some start with, and this is where we start to get into power dynamics of relationships and stuff. So and then you think about, you have these cords attached to all of these different people in your life, family, friends, coworkers, bosses, person you bumped into in the street, like, and there's some that are shallow and there's some that are deep, and there's some that go on for your entire lives, and there's some that happen for, that summer fling.
Right.
And then it's a clean cut, and there's no baggage left from it. So we're gonna dig into all of this. I think all of the different types of, maybe not like every single type, but we're going to start to kind of dig in, and definitely with the bigger focus on toxicity. And so we have a question in chat that says, can these cords have different densities and lengths? Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. So I would have a denser cord with like my best friend that I've known since high school, 15, 16 years, than I would with someone who I'm just forming an interaction with over the last couple of months. But what's also interesting is sometimes I meet people or I start to get involved with people, and it feels like that cord has always it feels like it's always been there, and it's like we were waiting to discover each other, but the connection was always there.
I mean, if you believe in reincarnation, that's the soul tie
and soulmates.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. That ideal too, that we're just meant to constantly reconnect with the same energy signature over and over again through all of our reincarnations, all of our lives, if you believe in that. So yeah, it's really important, I think, to, and like we were saying, some chords are stronger than others, but I think that it's always healthy to kind of do a soft reset on all chords every now and again, because the ones that matter are just going to come back anyway. So it's always nice to just sort of just go, get it all out of here for a little bit. And then, because at the end of the day, all we have is ourselves. Like when push comes to shove, all we can rely on is ourself. And I think it's healthy for us to energetically encourage that and make sure that we prioritize our connection with ourselves so that the chords that we create are healthy, balanced, and just kind. Because I think that, like Ty was saying, there's a lot of energy imbalances, power dynamics, strings attached with some chords, or just, like they're just heavy, right? There's and that's what I talk about a lot too with energetic feelings. Like we talked about, think about the chord with your best friend, think about the chord with the person you ran into the grocery store, and then think about the chord of someone who you really don't like. You're going to feel that heaviness right on you immediately, right on your shoulders, right on your heart. And these are the chords that need to be cut regularly and immediately, honestly. Like, as soon as you start to feel that heaviness that is like, whoa, this is not my energy. You've come into my space and I've allowed you to come into my space as well. It could be hard to, I don't know. There's so many layers to this as well, right? Because like sometimes these connections happen immediately or over years, and sometimes these people are, let's say, family, and you can't get away from them, and you see them regularly, and it's tough. So I think that cord cutting, energetic boundaries are really important for our sanity and for our hygiene, so that we aren't going through life constantly. Because what I think the result of is if having a lot of heavy cords is like this fight or flight response in our nervous system, is this constant, we hear the phrase living in our head rent free. It's that, this, they're constantly being rolling around in our head. We're constantly replaying conversations with them and arguments, and
imagining new ones. Pisces rising.
Yes, and living vicariously through those too. And it's tough. So
it's interesting too in like the time of social media, because more than ever we're able to maintain connections with people that we wouldn't have ordinarily been able to if the internet didn't exist. So 20, 30 years ago, I couldn't see what my ex-boyfriend was, like up to every second of every day, or what this is what bothers me the most about Facebook too, what that girl I knew in high school is doing today. You know what I mean? Like our cords are like stronger than ever, and I don't think that's a good thing necessarily. Some sure, but I wonder this question: can a toxic cord become impossible to sever?
No, I personally don't believe so at all. I think that anything, I think that it might require more effort.
Sometimes I feel stuck. I feel trapped. I feel like I'll never shake myself free of certain energy.
I think like sometimes it takes a lot more energy, and sometimes it takes multiple goes. But
or you need to up the like level of that working that you did.
Yeah, or
if you
try
just did a new candle cord cutting, maybe you need to up your game and you need to do like a cleansing bath first, then do your candles. Make sure it's on the right day. Like Saturday is a great day for cord cuttings because of Saturn's influence. Overcoming boundaries and all that. So that, or Mars, Tuesday would also be a Tuesday. So that's where you got to like start paying a little more attention, put in more effort. Maybe you need to make some dark moon water and plan it for, or get some thunderstorm water or something like that and use that to anoint your candles. Maybe you need to make a special protection oil for your candle and a banishing oil for their candle. That's where you start adding in layers upon layers.
Yeah, because like anything, any magic we can do without tools. Like that's the ideal. But especially with stuff that is like a toxic connection, you have a lot of layers of yourself that's like kind of trapped in it. That you need that extra stuff to so that you're not just putting your energy into it, you're putting all this outside.
You need those extra catalysts to help boost your own energy so that you can overcome it.
Because you might be holding yourself back, not intentionally, but just your energy holding yourself back from making the spell as successful as it could be. So that's when it's good to bring in all this extra stuff.
Cord cutting is one of the most intense, I think, spell works that is accessible, I think. Like, I think out of a lot of difficult spell work out there, this is easy to sit down to do and really hard to sit down to do at the same time, because it's definitely a book closing ritual. It's because in theory, the you can't do a cord cutting ritual and then like hang out with them at work the next day.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like you need to also, a part of the cord cutting ritual is also being like, I'm never seeing them again, going no contact.
So that's one of the cord cuttings is one of the most popular spell requests I get for my custom spell work. And I think because it's a lot easier for people to be like, can you do this for me? Like, this is hard to do myself. Can you do this? Yeah. And it is a more complicated spell than like a standard like money bowl or something like that. But that's one of the first things I always tell clients is like, this is not going to work if you go and message them on Instagram tomorrow, if you're constantly looking at their Facebook, if you're
stalking their
stopping by their place at work to see if they're there and talking to somebody else.
I did not come onto this podcast to get called out like this.
We didn't say you by name, okay?
Look, I'm so nosy, and this is my problem, is that I'm really nosy and curious, and even if I want to cut cords, I'm like, what the hell are they up to?
I feel like that's very Gemini of you.
I mean, the triple my Gemini stellium really said,
I know.
I want to know everything. I want to understand. I want to know what everybody's doing. I want to know what's the hot goss. I'm the cool mom from Mean Girls.
A different direction for now, right? Maybe you need to find.
And I've been working on. That's the thing, is that with Gemini specifically, there's definitely like there's a lot of they're gossipy, two-faced, blah blah blah. That's I think very unevolved, immature Gemini energy. And for me, with all of this Gemini in my chart, and when I was younger, oh my gosh, the amount of times that it was a he said, she said triangular situation that I got myself involved in, and I still struggle with that to this day. But I recognize them a lot earlier, and I remove myself quickly because it's toxic. It sucks. But it is also like a level of curiosity. And like on top of it, it's like, I just want to know what everybody thinks. I want to know what you think about this and what you think about that. And like, I want to like, and I want to understand all of the different, parts and pieces of it. But that does. And I think on top of that, with my Pisces rising, where I have boundary issues and I am very empathetic and emotionally attached to people very quickly. Those two things play a role for me in such a way that I will get trapped with really toxic people really fast, and I can't separate myself from it. And then I'm just there. And it's like, I don't know what to do now. And
that's a big phrase, not being able to separate yourself from them. That's perfect for a cord cutting. When you lose yourself in the other person.
Lose yourself in the music, the moment, Number two.
You only get one shot.
Only one shot. Do not miss your chance.
It's really funny because like listening to you talk about even like wanting to follow up on people even after you're like doing cord cuttings or attempting cord cuttings. And I just love the contrast between your Gemini energy and my Capricorn energy, because if I do a cord cutting, that is it. They are gone. They are out the door. And the only time I check up on them is to make sure that I'm doing better than them.
See, but that's not cord cutted. That's because in some ways, when I'm like checking up on people, it's the same thing. It's like a bit of a vindictive revenge. Like I want to, that what's that phrase, like my revenge is I'll be super successful, and there's some kind of like Instagram post I keep seeing like that. But it's interesting though, because my dad is a Virgo. I talked about him in the last episode too, but I remember when I first like moved 6, 7, 8 years ago, whenever it was, and I was leaving my old lifestyle and all of my old friends and the toxic energy, and I had just gotten dumped and all of this, and I was just stressing emotionally, like crying all the time, didn't understand, this person doesn't like me anymore, la la la. And my dad, and I will never forget this, but he pointed at the middle of his forehead, his third eye. And he's a gentle spiritual person. He's not like overt witchy like me, but he's definitely a little bit of a mystical, but he's also like a normal, like construction worker, old man. So mechanical kind of Virgo. But he points at his third eye and he moves his hands forward. I think he turns it into like the I love you symbol as he does it. It was a very specific gesture. And as he said that, he said, move on. I was in the middle of like ranting about how my ex did this and why don't do this and da-da-da-da-da. And he just stopped me and just said, move on. And that stuck with me. And every time I start to get spiraling into a situation, I think about, but my dad is also 2 ex-wives. He's been with my mom for whatever, 30 years, however long, but 2 ex-wives prior to it. And as soon as they were gone, like as soon as the relationship, like the divorce happened, just gone, like no contact, no connection, no nothing, absolutely nothing. My mom is flabbergasted by it. And I have spent my whole life, like, even if somebody like really, like truly screws me over, I still think about them for years. Like,
oh no. Nope.
So I don't understand how you just close the book and you never think about it again. And I don't know if I ever will. I think it's in my nature not to be like that. So I'm not trying to change who I am as a person, but what I would like to do is not dwell and not let it affect my future relationships or future involvements with other people is the weight that comes. So it's like, I bring these patterns into a new relationship because I'm still not done processing whatever happened with this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's the healthiest way to approach stuff like that. Like, the biggest thing is contact, reciprocal energy. You don't want to send a DM and have them respond back after. You shouldn't be talking to them at all. But see, I love all these earth sign energy. It's being like, nope, it's over. Because my partner's the same way. He had a falling out with his 2 best friends, BFFs forever, and they wronged him, and they've been gone ever since. Truly amazing work that these earth signs are capable of, just being able to completely root back into themselves and feel very secure in their own energy.
Capricorns never get wronged by the same person twice. Like, we'll give you a chance if it wasn't that bad, but like, nope. If you just fuck up so badly, you are gone. You're gone. That's it.
It's so
Out of sight, out of mind.
hearing you guys and the different sides, because I'm like, I've got my Libra
Because you're
sun,
Libra.
my Capricorn moon, and I've got my Gemini rising. So I'm like,
You hold on. You hold on to shit. You hold on to shit.
I'm covered. I'm a grudge holder.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Libra
I've
energy.
got-
Libras
I've got-
hold grudges like nobody else.
It's hard.
Like, I have Libra rising, so, but I feel like it's just like one of those, I think it's not as it doesn't affect me as much as my Capricorn sun in this situation, but it's more like with my Libra rising, it's more like I seek balance. So when someone wrongs me, I shut the door, they're gone, but then I try to bring that balance back into my life.
Violet Hummingbird in chat is saying, I sometimes have those people appear in dreams again. So maybe the chords are there somewhere, but definitely not in my day-to-day life. I think that talking about the subconscious realm and dream work and stuff in relation to cord cutting is an interesting tangent to go down, because I do think that sometimes you will think that you're over something. Like for me, for example, the person that I dated in my mid-20s, we dated for 4 years, and it was a very traumatic breakup for me. And that is energy that I haven't been able to shed the whole time, but that I was left with no closure. So a lot of times when there's no closure, I feel like the energy lingers forever. There's no way to shut the book, because it's just like, what, you know? So thinking about this person is like sometimes like I'll go months and no, that's not true, but I'll go a week or something without thinking about them, or a couple of weeks, or, you know, and then all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, I had this crazy dream about them last night. And then 4 or 5 nights in a row, I dream about them. And I'm like, why? What do you want? Like, what do you want? Like, get out of my head. Like, what? And I think that's where it comes in, is like, I've never tried cord cutting specifically with that person. I've tried I just did my first cord cutting. Okay, I'm not gonna. We'll talk about cord cutting rituals a little bit down. Yeah. I'm jumping all over the place. Sorry.
So in regards to the dreams, I have something too. I think that if you're feeling you've moved on, there's nothing there connecting, you don't feel that energy connection to you. And I know, like Violet Hummingbird, like you're a practitioner as well too. So you've got some experience, I'm sure, with just energy and knowing when something still has like a hold on you a little bit. I think that a lot of the times those patterns that we've learned from those people can reoccur in dreams, especially like if you are talking about just dream symbolism and something. Let's say that like maybe you're met a new coworker at work, and then later that night you dream about your ex. I would look at, okay, maybe this new person reminded you of them in some way, and this is something to look out for in this way, or something like that, right? Like, what could that person mean in reference to what you're going through currently? Maybe your subconscious or your guides, however you want to look at it, might be trying to remind you of some of the patterns there and warn you about something.
I definitely think
that's how I would take it personally.
I definitely think that people have become, my dream characters might be based on real life people, but they have come to represent ideas or energy or whatever patterns too. So a certain, there are various things. So whenever I start to dream about a certain person over and over, sometimes it could be as simple and surface as like, I'm processing internally the relationship with them. But most of the times I think it's more like how this person applies, not even how, but how they affected me. So like taking like my mom, for example, I would associate her with the word eclectic and maybe a little neurotic, right? I love her. But there's certain, she carries a certain energy signature. So when my mom shows up in my dreams, of course, there's going to be the mother archetype too, but I'm going to look at her as just her personality archetype instead of the mother role. I would say that like a neuroticism or maybe even like obsessive tendencies and like a little bit of gossip energy too. She kind of plays a lot of that energy in. So when she shows up in dreams and she's a character that's interacting, I would more take it as that part of my nature is playing out in the stream in this way, and maybe, you know, that type of thing. And we'll do, I'm sure, whole episodes on like dream digging in dream symbolism and stuff, but
it's come up a few times. We got to
for energetic cord cutting though, I do think that when they're popping up in your dreams a lot, I think that there's some subconscious shit. I don't think that you've shed it. For me specifically, like when I'm dreaming about an ex from 5 years ago, like 5 nights in a row, that means something to me. You know what I mean? Like and then especially when I feel like I haven't fully cut like the energy. And then there's other times too that I just feel like they're thinking about me. I don't know how to explain this, and it's not even just like partners, but like, and I think we all kind of experience this. This is the little subtle psychic energy where you're just like, you start thinking about someone and then they call you the next day and you haven't heard from them in like 2 months.
Oh. I don't know if you guys have heard about that, but I've heard that is when other people are trying to manifest you.
I've heard that too, and I'm like, but see, this, get out of here. This ex is so. Oh, anyway, I'm not even gonna.
It's funny that
you proud motherfucker.
Like, I did my cord cutting, and Dukesley helped me with like the energetic side of it. And the day after, or maybe it was like later that night, but my ex texted me like we were within 24 hours of this experience, and I hadn't talked to him in like months, like bad breakup, goodbye, like nothing, blocked on everything, and then they texted me out of the blue after that, and I was like,
and so that's the thing, is like maybe they feel the energy waning, and they're like, hold up, I still want this.
Their control is waning.
That's why it's so important to cut contact with people during cord cuttings. And besides the fact that the cord cutting will literally just not work if you text them like 5 minutes after, 10 minutes after, day after. You will have completely nullified the cord if you create any type of connection with them. The cord cutting. But another reason why it's so important to have no contact is because, like, they'll feel the withdrawing energy, and that'll make them want to come back even more. You know what I mean? Like, if they're a manipulative. Also, sometimes we just cut cords with people because we need to just relieve weight. So sometimes it's not always just bad people that we're cutting cords, just people who don't fit our flow anymore, right? But this is specifically for like narcissists and like,
I was gonna say that's pretty narcissistic. That's what I was about to comment on.
who crave
you're not
energy.
addicted to my energy anymore. Hold on, we got to change that because I need this energy. I need this connection. I need, what do they call it, narcissistic supply.
And sometimes it's just like not really malicious like that, but like codependency.
Yeah, that too.
They are not ready to let go of that energy.
Yeah, I mean, the way narcissist works is purely parasitic. It's totally dependent upon the other person, believing them, being with them, relying on them.
We're talking about this in the context of, there's literally melted chocolate on my, okay. I knew I dropped a piece of chocolate earlier. It's like, where did it go?
Covered strawberry.
But we're talking about this in terms of relationships a lot. I would like to broaden this as well to like friendships and acquaintanceships.
So personally, I think that this can also be applied to objects, things, patterns of behavior, addiction, substances, and so on. And I think a lot of this has to do with I'm on like the edge of animism. So personally, I think that everything has energy and can connect you with that energy in a positive or a negative way. So,
So those who don't know, animism is the belief that everything has a spirit, has a soul, or like that kind of energy.
so not just people, but animals, plants, even like objects sometimes, right? So like when they say to like talk to your tarot deck or to bond with your tarot deck before using it, that's a very like animist way of thinking. And things like that would be an example, or to talk to your houseplants. That's like a very animist thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just going off of the idea that like everything has a spirit, you know, and we were talking about like people having control over you or having an energetic attachment to you.
Pocahontas. Every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit,
Third
has a
reference. Third reference.
So in that way, like bad habits, right, can start to have a hold over you. Even just like patterns of thinking. I've done cord cuttings for my anxiety and things like that, social anxiety and things that were having control and holds over me. And sometimes it's just like a step to get to. Obviously, like when we're talking about things like substances and stuff, disclaimer, please seek actual help, right? Magic's not going to solve all your problems, right? You got to do the work on the mundane side of things too. So don't be afraid to seek help. Help doesn't make you any less magical or powerful or anything like that. So, but sometimes mentally speaking, doing a cord cutting ritual or something like that for something that has control or power over you can help you mentally disconnect yourself from that, right? Or feel more in control of yourself, help break that connection that you have with that. I've known people who did it for like food items, people who did it for video game addictions, all kinds of different things, right? Not just human relationships.
Yeah, that's reminding me. So I went to a workshop at my local witchcraft shop a few weeks ago that was magic and pop culture. And we took spells that were like in movies and TV shows and like reworked them to be used in the real world. And one of them, we did tabula rasa for Buffy. Like tabula rasa is like clean slate, blank page. And we used it for intrusive thoughts. And so that's like something else that you could do with cord cutting is intrusive thoughts and like just that bad habit, because that's not like intrusive thoughts are something you can't control. That's the whole point of them. So, so like that's something you could do with cord cutting.
And it's important to remember that like the cord cutting is very titular. Like you're cutting the cord. That's it. You're not healing your mental state. You're not healing your emotional state. This is not a healing spell. This is a cleansing spell. So you cut the cord, and then you have to follow up with aftercare. You have to follow up with the work that supports the cutting that you had just completed. If you just cut the cord and go back to your old habits and go back to your old mindsets and go back, then what was the point? Right? Like it's really important to follow up the work. You know what I mean? Like follow up the spell with the work, because you can't just complete this type of spell work and this type of ritual or ceremony and just be like, okay, all better now. Like, I'm not to say, like, usually after a ceremony, you're feeling lighter, you're feeling more in control, you're feeling more, you have more space now to follow the healing trail, but it's not gonna be, that's not what the spell does. It's all responsible for you to take care of what happens after because like I said, you're literally just cutting cords, and those cords can come back if you do not take care.
Yeah, because again,
yourself.
you know, I love my garden metaphors, but it's sort of like maybe like think of like, oh no, did I just do this with Robert Frost? I want to go on a tangent about Robert Frost anyway to continue about. Okay, so the road less traveled, or the road, took the road, the two roads diverged in a wood. So that I'll come into that in a second, but we're thinking about like a path through a forest way that is not traveled very often, and there's bramble growing in over everything, so it's harder to get through, as compared to the one that everybody takes every day. This is the way to the market, and everyone from this village travels through here. There's not spider webs in the way. There's nothing. There's a dirt trodden path. So think about this like energetic cords too. An energy connection that you're interacting with every single day is going to be easy to go through. So you're more likely to continue going down that path than taking the harder road, or the more brambled over road, where you're not connected with that person anymore. You're connected with someone new, because this one is difficult. You don't exactly know how to navigate it just yet. So you have to make the conscious decision to put a barrier up on that commonly traveled path and say, no access. I'm not going down this anymore. And I'm going to take this different route now. I'm going to connect in a different way. And what I want to talk about with Robert Frost is, I referenced it in a previous episode. It was either last episode or the one before. And I was talking about how the road less traveled, and the whole point of the poem is like taking the road less traveled and doing the hard thing that other people don't do. And I went on a weird rabbit hole down Robert Frost for some reason. I don't remember why, but I started I think I wanted to read the whole poem because
Gemini thing.
I hadn't read it in a while, and I was like, well, let me take a look at it again. And then I started digging into all of these like philosophical, research papers, people that were like dissecting it. And apparently Robert Frost had written that poem as like a satirical joke for another poet friend back in the late 1800s, 1900s, whenever that was from. And it was because him and this friend, this other poet person, they would go walking together every day. And the friend would always be like, well, I don't know which path we should take today. I don't know if we should go over here or over there. And I don't want to travel. I don't want to go here because I want to look at the lake today. And if we go look at the mountain today, we're not going to get to see the lake. And I want to see both of them. And I can't see both of them. And he was he wrote the poem kind of poking fun at his friend for not being able to make a decision. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what path you take, you're still going to have a good time. And so the point of the Robert Frost poem is not to take the more difficult path. It's to just take whatever road. Because there's no point in even sitting here and worrying about it. Like, they're both going to get you to the same place. So I thought it was really interesting because everybody thinks the poem means the more difficult path, but it doesn't. It means quit being stuck in analysis paralysis.
And I think that's definitely relevant to this too, because
cool. Okay, good.
You're worried there. And the reason why is that I think a really important part of the cord cutting process is a neutrality, is just rather than forcing yourself through the because I hear all the time from people where like they've had a falling out with someone. They're like, I don't even care about them. Whatever.
But they say it so angrily, and it's like, it's like, okay, sure, Jan.
And like, I can tell the difference between someone who's like, who? Like, and someone who's like, oh, them? Yeah.
Oh my God, that person. About them in months.
Wow. They're just like,
I forgot
whatever.
about them.
I just, yeah. And like, to me, if you're in the stage of like, who? I don't care. Then I think you care a little. And I think that
a little denial there.
A little bit. And it's definitely important. I think that it's the perfect time to cord cut and really end the cycle is when you've truly just reached a point of, I'm over this. I need to release myself from these mental gymnastics, these mind games, these mindsets, these habits, these individuals. It's almost the times that I've done cord cutting is when I felt defeated almost, where I'm just like, I'm done. And I need an extra step to kind of push myself through the finish line. And just be on the other end of whatever this is, this mindset or this person or this relationship. And I think that it's harder for us to break away from people when we're still constantly filled up by their energy. in any way, shape, or form, mentally, physically, emotionally, it's always best to approach these types of ceremonies and these types of mindsets with a calm neutrality rather than
I would
arms.
100% agree. And I think that one of the benefits of a cord cutting and doing this for yourself is by doing it with objects, right? Which is usually part of the spell is I have sympathetic magic is the word, but you're essentially the traditional cord cutting is candles, right? One represents you and one represents whatever you're doing. Tie them together and you let them burn it away. Right. By allowing and projecting it into physical items, you're able to kind of look at it from an outside perspective, right? And observe it as it goes. And I think too, coming at it with the defeatedness, right? The neutrality of, I just want this done. Yeah. Because you have to be able to do the work afterwards. And if you're still emotionally raw, if you're still in that process of healing, it's going to be too much for you to energetically do the ritual and then do the follow-up that's needed, which is almost more difficult than the other, right? Yes. And if you're a practitioner, this is going to mean doing the cord cutting, doing maybe like a healing, and then doing a protection, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's at least 3 workings that need to be done in fairly quick proximity of each other, right? So just energetically speaking, that alone is a lot.
Yeah.
I will say, when I have done cord cuttings, when I am still emotionally raw, it hasn't been terrible because it has cut off, it has gotten me to, maybe it didn't cut the cord completely, but it did cut that raw emotion and it kind of cauterized it, I guess, to an extent, where I did just I let go of those emotions and I did become calm about the situation, and then I could move on.
That's good. So. I would say you're lucky with that because I think that there's a lot of people who fly in the other direction.
That's what I was going to say.
Capricorn.
There's absolutely no way. If I had just gotten into a huge argument with my best friend of 5 years and we're done with each other and we're blocked each other on all of our social media and they're shit talking me, I'm shit talking them to someone I can't believe that she did this. Blah, 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 blah. And I try to do a cord cutting ritual, I'm gonna do shit. There's no way.
I think it also depends on a specific situation I'm thinking of is that I knew we were both in the wrong, and it was at a point where we were already moving out of each other's lives, and this was just the explosive end. And and I was really hurt and I hurt them. So it was a solid end to something that was already on its way out.
And I think this is the difference between going through your stuff and collecting all of the shirt they gave you and the picture of us from this convention we went to and donating stuff or getting rid of it and removing it in it's time for this stuff to go away, which sounds like you're gentle, this isn't working out, we gotta part ways. And fuck this person, I'm gonna burn everything I have of theirs. I'm actually gonna take it to their front yard and I'm gonna set it on fire on their front porch. That's the difference between those two types of releasing their shit, you know what I mean?
Because I feel like the other person did that, so to balance it out, I was well, they did that kind of thing, and you know what, I don't want to deal with that kind of energy, so I'm just gonna be whatever.
So I would like to talk a little bit more about, I have a question though. So I was telling the co-host that I was going to be a bit of a student with this episode because I'm, generally speaking, I'm very much an intuitive person. I've been doing tarot for a decade or more. Dream work and psychedelic experiences catch me on the astral realm. But when it comes to I don't know that I want to call it mundane witchcraft, but spell work and stuff feels like the everyday physical spell work and potion work and all. I don't do any of this kind of stuff.
The basics.
Maybe the basics. And this is so typical of
The
me.
fundamentals.
The
It's a whole
fundamentals.
different section,
I
right?
never know the fundamentals. I always am like, I was just talking about this with like animating in After Effects. I don't know the fundamentals, but I know how to make this character blink. I know how to make a cat walk, but I don't know how to make this. I don't know how to mask something and move an object across the screen.
You never went to Witchcraft 101?
No, I jumped straight into ketamine. No, I'm kidding. But I want to talk a little bit. So I did my first cord cutting, candle burning thing. And I want to ask, is it bad practice to discuss the results of that publicly?
That's up to you.
It's your personal opinion. Yeah, a lot of people are for or against sharing their spell work. A lot of people online will videotape spell work and share it, right? And some people
It's
that's
up to
a
you.
no. Just like sharing your altar, letting people read your Book of Shadows. It's all depending on how personal you are.
I feel okay sharing this, and I feel like it'll be a good maybe discussion for all of us. Like y'all can weigh in on things. So I had my main candle in the middle, and I had two candles on the side. One represented an ex-relationship, and one represented toxic friends over the last year or two that I don't want to even like. I just need to let
Like
go.
an archetype.
I got to get archetypes, the paper doll energy, and there was a couple of individuals that I was kind of brewing the idea around with it, but it was mostly just like people who represent this and bring this quality out in me and treat me in this type of way. I want to, shed this type of. I don't want to have friends like this anymore. I don't want to get involved in friendships like this anymore. And then the other one was a relationship, because both of these are energetic drains that are really have been really affecting me for the last couple of years. And so I did this, I used like little, twine. I think I took it off of my broomstick. I have a cinnamon broom that it was like a twine. I have a cinnamon broom that I've tied a plastic like flower to, and I use twine. So that's the only cord I had in my house. So I had to cut that off of this broom I've had since 2016 that I made, and I tied one of the candles to my, like it was tied, I tied the relationship candle to my candle, and I tied the toxic friendship candle to my candle, and I set them all on fire at the same time. I lit them all. I lit all the candles at the same time. So they start burning down, right? And it made me actually emotional, but the relationship one was like exploding. I don't know. Like the flame was super duper high. It was like twice as high as the other one and my candle. And it was burning really fast, really brightly, really dramatically. And it got down to the other one was like nice and gentle and slow and just just chilling, doing its thing. And this one burned really rapidly. And it when it hit the twine that was connecting it to my candle, I also had them like dripping down so that they would collect their wax, right? And because I was like, maybe I could do like a tea leaf reading thing. I could look at the wax and like do a little like,
wax
like a scrying moment or whatever word you use. So when it hit the twine that was holding it to my candle, it like burst up to it, connected to my candle, and then it like the flame just stayed boiling and burning at where it was connected to my candle, which caused my candle to start rapidly burning. So it didn't put itself out. It stayed on fire on that side, in other words, like the twine did. It caused my candle to start rapidly burning. This one burned down so fast and so quickly that I had these all in like from Michael's, you get these like little planks of like cut tree, you know what I mean? Like the little aesthetic, like wood. So they were burning onto that, which probably not the best idea, but
burning on wood.
So I might do it a little differently next time. But when
please do.
When I didn't think about it. I had
always practice candle safety. Okay,
fire safety. Be like Witchcraft 101. So you skipped your Witchcraft 101. Fire safety is the first.
So I had my candle in my little mini cauldron. But I was protecting myself. That's why I don't care. No, but so the relationship one was like burning so fast and rapidly. It was catching mine on fire so that my candle was like burning faster than it should have. And then when it got down to the bottom of the candle, it burned straight through the wax puddle. And I was like, I'm going to have to manually put this out. I was just planning on letting it burn itself out. Right. But I was like, I need to manually put this out because it's touching this other wood now. And I don't want anything, bad to happen. I sat there and watched it the whole time. I didn't leave it unattended or anything. And, and so I had to manually put that out. And then the other candle just gently burned itself out. It broke the little twine apart. And there was no like fire jumping up to mine or anything. And then when it got down, to the bottom, like the wax, like fizzled and settled down, it put itself out gently. It didn't even get to the wood at all. It just was a nice little, and like while I was watching my candle, I almost started crying, or maybe I did. It's been a couple of weeks now. But I was watching it and I was like, this connection over here or whatever is going on with this energy is making me die faster than I'm supposed to be dying. My candle is being burnt faster. Yeah. It's going to run out. The flame will die faster on this candle than it was supposed to because of whatever's going on with this connection over here. So that was my experience with that. And whatever y'all have to say, I would love to hear it.
With candle magic, not necessarily. A lot of the times, you can interpret it how you want, but a lot of the times a candle that's representing one person or one thing burns faster because they're more they're more ready to let go of that energy, or they're more ready to bring in that energy, whatever like kind of spell you're doing. They're more they're already bringing in that energy. And so they're just like the spell is just making it happen faster. So sometimes that doesn't necessarily mean it is making you burn out faster. It's actually a good thing. Go with your intuition, of course, but often in a spell, that's usually how it can be interpreted.
Yeah, I think a lot
if
of
it is representing something.
The one thing I want to say is usually, like when it comes to candle divining, I'm usually all about that, but I actually choose to completely ignore all divining during cord cuttings because the whole point is that I'm trying to detach from this energy.
Oh, I was obsessively watching it.
I'm trying to stay neutral to this energy.
I was in scientist mode. I'd never done it before. I don't want to get sucked into like, oh, like this person's candle's going crazy, so that must mean
Stop.
Why are you roasting me right now?
I'm with you on this one, Sadie. I videotape all my cord cutting so I can watch them back faster and see like the patterns and stuff. But I'm very analytical. I like to see the patterns and everything, and and most of it's for clients too. So I want them, if they would like to see that I actually did it, like here's the proof that I did this for you.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And like oftentimes from what I've seen, it is a reflection of their relationship with that person based on how the candles are reacting and my guesstimation of what it might mean. But I don't know. I would love to dive into this with you, Shady, but I don't know if the podcast is the best place.
Okay. Well, okay. So is there anything that we can take from my story to deliver to the listener?
So I have a
fire safety.
Yes, fire
Stop.
safety.
Leave me alone. Stop it.
Please do not set your candles on fire without a candle plate between them and
fire safety.
I didn't have any. I don't have any of these.
A plate? Like a dish plate.
I used my mom's vintage butter dish the other day and she got upset. So no, I don't have anything like that.
Okay. A coffee cup. You don't have a coffee cup?
I guess I got a coffee cup.
We're gonna send you a witchcraft $1 fire safety
and look for some candle holders. Right? There's options there. But yes, please.
I'm a fire hazard, so jot that down.
So I have two things, and I think that this could be a really good segue into how to do cord cuttings, but there is one thing I want to discuss first, and it's kind of just like a witchcraft theorizing, I guess. But I'm very curious as to where you guys think cord cuttings lie in terms of magic. Do you consider it to be baneful? Do you consider it to be... We're like, where do you think it lies? Like, it's definitely sympathetic magic, at least usually how cord cuttings are done.
I don't know what these words mean.
I do consider it to be, baneful magic would be like harmful magic towards someone else. Like a curse or
no, definitely not harmful.
But I do consider it to be banishing, and a lot of people consider banishing to be harmful.
I don't see banishing
I don't
as
see it
harmful.
as banishing though, because I'm not saying it's not like the craft. I bind you, Nancy, from doing harm. Like I'm not doing. The magic is not for me. It's not focused on that person. It's focused on
Yes,
me.
for me.
It's me, like giving myself a haircut, and it's like me and Dukesley braided our hair together, and I'm cutting my end of the ponytail. I'm not touching her hair. Some of it might be tangled up in my hair at this point, and that's both of our faults. I'm sorry if I cut some of your hair, but I need to move my head a different direction. I need to go over here, right? Like I think it's a pretty good visual for cord cutting, to be honest.
Personally, I consider all removal to be a type of banishing, whether I'm removing anxiety from my morning cup of coffee, right? And I'm stirring counterclockwise to banish that anxiety from my day, or whatever it might be.
I don't see banishment as baneful magic. And to be completely clear, I do not have like a moral stance against baneful magic. I just I don't see banishing as baneful magic. I see it as an extension of protection. I'm banishing this to protect myself.
Yeah.
I think that I usually when I do cord cuttings, I'm so disconnected from that person already that like I am just worried about me. And I'm just worried about the purest form of protecting myself is what this feels like. And I use all white candles during my cord cuttings. It's a very pure, angelic process that I do actually with lots of love,
I
lots
used
of
the
light,
yellow candle for me because I wanted my solar chakra I wanted to feel confident and happy.
That's nice.
All of our differences is so fascinating because I use like the typical white candle, black candle, right? Like the banishing one and then the protective one and the cleansing one. So it's just very like fascinating.
Yeah. So I think that at this point we can start talking about specific rituals.
Whoa.
And I said it. And I'm going there. And what we do for cord cuttings, whatever that means. We talked about using the twine and having the candles burn them down, which I've never done before, for the record. I
liked it. I saw it. I think Panthera introduced it to me one time, and I think I saw an Instagram video of it, and I was like, this looks and feels like what it should. I don't know. Like this visually, this is a good metaphor to me. This looks nice.
I love candle magic. So it's just my go-to for
I definitely use candles in it, but as dolls, to represent.
So do you actually light the candles when you do it? Okay.
Yes.
But you just cut the rope before. Do you tie the rope around the candles themselves?
All right. So this is what I do. I use a red string.
She's gonna break it down.
Red string of fate. I only use red string for this. It's because of the idea of like the red string of fate. We're connected. We were meant to have this connection. We were meant to break this connection. Right. Everything's happening for a reason. I was meant to have this horrible, whatever relationship, habit, mindset, whatever. Now it's time to let it go. I like to cleanse the red string or twine in salt water overnight. I feel like that strengthens and grounds the spell a little bit. I make sure to do it right before the new moon hits, the waning moon. And I have 2 candles, one for me, one for them, or whatever. And then sometimes I also add a doll. So what does that mean? Dolls. Sometimes I literally make a doll representing the 2 of us. Sometimes, and it's also worth noticing that, I usually throw out the doll afterwards, so hopefully that doesn't happen to Maple.
I would not want to use your nice dolls for this. You would like make a paper doll, literally.
Yeah, literally. Or right. I've done it before where I write their name on a bay leaf. I've done it before where I DNA, right? don't be too weird. We don't need toes or fingers, just a little bit of hair. If they've left any behind.
Signatures.
Yeah.
You can get their signature or their business card. That also
yes, something they've left behind, something. And then I use my consecrated shears that I use for all this type of work that's over by my altar. But I have a special pair of scissors just for things like this. I cleanse the twine in salt water overnight under a moon. Next day, I light the candles. I tie the strings between the two dolls. And I also, so a really important part for me for the cord cutting is letter writing. I like to write a letter to the person or the thing or the idea. And that's the hardest part. That's where you're saying goodbye. That's where you're saying thank you. And or I hate you. Sometimes you gotta throw I hate you in there.
So long and thanks for all the fish.
Yeah. So sometimes you gotta and like
you gotta sing the song from Pokemon. It's like the time has come. It's for the best I know. And you remember that one? Pikachu's goodbye.
Yeah,
Who
Pikachu
would have
did.
guessed that you and I. Nobody. This is the Pokemon, the first Pokemon movie that somehow someday would have to say goodbye. It's literally from the first Pokemon movie. No, or
I've never seen it.
maybe it's not the first Pokemon movie. It's like
because I was about to say I know that.
it's the first. It's the first season of Pokemon, and it's when Ash is trying to let Pikachu go.
Yeah, because Pikachu found his family.
And it's like Ash, why do you do this with all of your best anyway? Cord cutting. Continue. Sorry.
I never watched.
Not Ash cord cutting Pikachu.
Ash cord cutting Pikachu.
No, that's so sad. But yeah, a really important part for my cord cutting is the saying goodbye. That's why also I use a lot of yellow flowers in cord cutting as a farewell. And farewell to that mindset, farewell to them. I've had letters that are heartfelt and like this sucks that this has to happen, like that kind of stuff. But I've also had cord cuttings where it's just like, fuck you, idiot. Bye. You've actively made my life harder since you've been in it.
That's the kind of energy I'm trying to let go of. Is that was
Right.
the more vindictive, like fuck you energy was in my like 20s, and now I'm trying to be like, okay, I don't want to care about you enough to hate you. I just don't want anything to do with you anymore.
Yep.
And of course, sometimes like these people maybe just are terrible human beings, and you got nothing nice to say. That's valid too. Like I don't want to like push this narrative that's like all love and light and I love you and
I'm certainly not leaving with love and light.
Yeah,
I'm taking my light. I'm taking my love. Don't talk to me.
Yeah, and I'm taking that back, and and after that is when I tie the dolls together and I take my shears, and that's when the big magic happens, right? And I have a little poem that I speak aloud and cut. And usually there's lots of tears, there's lots of releasing, but the most important part is the aftercare, I think. Because that was fun, right? I got to do a little song and dance in front of my altar for like an hour and a half, and so yay, I'm feeling great. Now what? This is when
A bubble bath.
literally I actually I keep looking over here, by the way, because I have like tons of notes because I have been.
You're so prepared.
This is just one of my go-to favorite spells. It's just, it works every time. Like it's one of those things where it's just like, listen, I can rely on this to work, and it's crazy seeing it all written down actually. But this is an intense ritual. I threw up one time after doing it, just like a full purge, like we were deeply enmeshed, like that time, where like I'm sure they threw up too. Like, you know what I mean? Like they probably felt it too. Whatever I did was really, really intense. Like listening to the body, and honestly, like a long-term mundane thing that I always recommend whenever I do cord cuttings is therapy, if possible. like honestly, so that it's specifically like CBT, so that we can continue to rely on our inner voice, our
Cognitive behavioral therapy for those that don't know.
yeah, and for CBT is all about
Rewiring
reframing
your brain.
the mind,
Yeah.
reframing the mindsets. When you say out loud like, it's raining, it's gonna be a terrible day. CBT kicks in and goes, well, when it rains, the flowers come out, so maybe today won't be so bad after all. So and I think that another thing that I do post cord cutting ritual oftentimes is I'm all of a sudden very aware of all the cords that I constantly have after a ritual. And for like a good month afterwards, you usually catch me doing tons of mini cord cutting rituals, which usually just involves me shaking it off. You just gotta shake it off, shake, move,
Resisting
move.
the urge to sing Taylor Swift.
Oh God, I appreciate it. Thank you.
She's got the song called "Shake It Off."
That was her only good song.
I was actually thinking of that, so like, yay, a pop culture reference I actually get. So.
All of my pop culture references are just singing songs.
Or
You do a lot of movies.
I'm a Disney princess.
or songs from movies.
Like, I will break out into song. I wanted to say that I also think that journaling would be a really good like aftercare thing. Like, not necessarily as a replacement for therapy, but maybe as a replacement for therapy. Like, not all of us can afford therapy. You know?
It is actually like my therapist was like journal, and I was like, that is part of my therapy. I recommend journaling for everything.
Should be done before, like maybe even during and after, like all spell work.
Yeah, for real.
We should all be journaling all of the time. 24/7.
Write it down.
Hold on.
Right now.
Let me write that down. I gotta hold up.
All right, good podcast, everyone. Bye.
I don't have a pencil, but I have an X-Acto knife.
Stop. Put that away. So I was laughing earlier when Dukesley was talking about shears because, kind of a joke, but also kind of not a joke. Is it more powerful if I took a whole ass rope and I tied them between two trees and then I like gardening shears?
Hey, listen. Do it.
So
the bigger the rope, the bigger the ritual.
The energy that you put in is what makes it powerful. So like Dukesley choosing the specific color, making the dolls, and while she's making them, thinking of that person, binding it to that person and connecting it to that person. If you anoint it, right? I think you said you anointed it, right? The thread, choosing what specifically to anoint it with. All this stuff, even though this ritual might be tiny, that's a lot better than just going and wrapping a bungee cord around a tree and just cutting it. Like,
that would be so fun.
I would say on the other hand, if you feel like you need that grand gesture of energy, go ahead and do it.
So where do we think that
that might get you in the right mindset?
I'm thinking about when people do grand openings and they cut that ribbon in the front of their business. Is that related to cord cutting at all? It seems like it's not, but I'm just thinking about it right now.
Maybe it's like
more of releasing the barrier in front to the public. So you're opening, right? It's a
okay. So do you think that cord cutting would create the ability to open?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So this is also in some ways like,
what do you mean?
Create energetic attachments with people very, very easily.
Yeah, like,
because
and that's where a lot of like love and attraction.
I
magic
think that like let's take for relationships for example, and you could apply this to any type of ship, like I've said, but like you're toxically attached to you're hung up on an ex and it's weighing you down. You can't, and so anytime you start to get involved with someone new, that's just like. It's like the Babadook lurking in the corner. It's like just this little demon, this little dark force that's just like popping its head out and just being like, oh, well, they're either going to cheat on you or they're going to do the thing that your ex did, or you're going to do the thing that you did to your ex. Like you're going to still be a failure, just like you were in the last relationship. You're going to get rejected just like you like. So I think that that's where, and the same thing could come out in friendships. And this is why I think the paper doll syndrome happens is, I'll meet new people to become friends with, and I'm more likely to continue I recognize this energy signature. This is familiar to me. And then of course we could probably trace this back to like childhood interactions with the family and stuff. And
Shadow work time.
Yeah. I find that with cord cutting, a part of the reason why this is such an intense spell is it requires a lot of like mental process that comes after it, as opposed to like manifestation spell. You do it, you manifest, you wait, right? And you wait and you wait and you wait sometimes, and you keep waiting sometimes until it shows up in its strange little form. Hopefully the way you
10
asked
years later.
Sometimes you have to wait a while. But when it comes to this is a very active spell. And it requires the beholder to the creator of the spell to continually to actively participate in that liminal space that you declared of being free from this cord. It requires you to constantly be living aligned with this mindset and this new lifestyle.
I think
that you declare.
I think that there's a lot of other ways to do this besides like making a physical string to cut and doing the I think you don't necessarily have to do these rituals. I imagine you could also do a lot of this work in an inner way through meditation or dream work, lucid dreaming, kind of like astral work and this kind of thing. So it's more just like mindfulness. I think that there's what I like about witchcraft is the physical like manifestation, the mirror image of the energy work that you're doing. And I think that does something to the human brain, seeing something visually and attaching to that. But I also don't think that physical things are necessary all the time for everything.
One of the things I do, I don't like, I've done like the physical cord cuttings quite a few times, but one of the things is that like, especially if I'm dealing with like energy rather than a person, just overall energy that I can't shed. I like visualize it as like a big, like messy ball in front of me. And then I visualize that, and then I take my athame and like physically like cut down with my knife, but it's not actually physical. I just have this, but it's all
it could also be fun to like visualize untangling it, or like that's very much like my little puzzle brain would like really enjoy like undoing like knots. Working tangles out.
I do enough knitting that I do that in real life.
I have to brush my stupid hair every night. I am kind of sick of untangling stuff.
Like untangling, one cool sympathetic magic that you could do is take like different colored pieces of yarn and symbolizing each person, maybe that you're wanting to let go, and one symbolizing you. Maybe even have that one be larger. And push them all together, tangle them all up, drag them around or whatever to mimic what has already happened, and then put something on the TV or listen to some music and just slowly untangle them all. And like the ones that you want, toss them in the trash. And then the one that's you, like, save that one.
Or you could burn it.
Because I do a lot of knitting magic. I'm a Stitch Witch. I do a lot of knitting magic, and I do a lot of putting intention into like what I'm working on into the threads. But when I do like come across like a big knot in my skein of yarn, like it's like clearly there is something that needs to be worked on here. So I do that whole like untangling thing. Is it fun? No. Do I just want to continue with what I'm working on? Yes. But that's the whole thing. Sometimes you have to sit there and do that.
Yeah. Gotta reflect. Gotta choose what is worth the untanglings, because sometimes you just cut it out.
So I have a couple different cord cuttings that I do. And one of which I will show you guys. It's more of like a small form of cord cutting. I could consider it cord cutting, or like a letting go ritual would be another one. but that's the one I'm going to be showing you all later in the Discord. So once again, like if you guys
pop over in that Discord and join us. It's going to be a lot of fun.
the links in the chat. But yeah, so that one in particular involves writing something on a bay leaf that you want to let go of. It can be a person, it can be a thought, it can be a habit. It can just be something that has any sort of control that you don't want a part of anymore, and burning it. You can also do the same kind of thing and write it on a piece of toilet paper and flush it down the toilet, pull it away from you. Toilet magic is actually great and easy. Like,
It is.
accessible for everyone. Like if
I was actually going to mention that.
Flush it.
I was going to mention that you were like, because you were saying these are the spies. You don't have to burn it. Like when we were starting, I was like, you can flush it down the toilet. I was going to mention that.
We don't bury it. We want it to go away.
Yeah.
True.
But,
Oh, I have another question. I should have asked this earlier. So about the candle thing that I did, I still have the wax over here. Should I have done something with that?
Up to you.
I mean, up to you. I don't like to keep my spell remnants. But
I was gonna say, as far as like energetically, because I've read and seen and whatever stuff that it's like take it and bury it in a field far away, or bury it under your front porch step, or
when I do cord cutting, I get rid of everything.
That's what I do.
That's what I do.
Bye.
Because it didn't feel like it worked, so I'm assuming I did something wrong. It feels like it worked, but not all the way, because there's still
just needs a little extra. Think
about it. You're still holding on to part of it.
That's what I'm saying, is like it's physically just still here in my space. Like,
so get rid of it.
In general, when disposing spell remnants, if the spell is to get something away, you do that same thing with the spell remnants, whether that's just tossing it in the trash, flushing it down the toilet if it's safe. If you have a septic system, do your research, or putting it outside, which once again, make sure that all the pieces are decomposable or something.
I was going to say wax
glass pieces into the.
Is wax okay to?
It depends on the type of wax.
That's
so you'll have to do research.
So I guess I'll just throw it away.
I would probably just throw it away.
Yeah.
So toss it.
If it's something that you're bringing in, that's when you would bury it like close to home. So like that's when it's under the porch, in the yard. So like if I'm doing a garden spell, and maybe I'll make like a satchel and like a little burlap bag so it'll decompose and it's full of herbs and maybe some oils for the betterment of my garden. I might go bury that in my garden so that it will decompose and become part of the.
One thing I do want to say is you might have to do multiple cord cuttings. I've had to do one couple times in different ways, right? Like kind of what we were talking about earlier. Just sort of strengthen the parts that I felt were lacking or didn't feel complete. I think that the one thing I want to encourage for people is to make cord cutting a routine. Sure, what we were discussing is a lot of big cord cuttings, like a lot of big final book endings, right? But I really encourage, whenever you start to feel enmeshed, whenever you start to feel like you're, the feeling when you just start falling into someone, a little too hard, a little too fast, a mindset, a TV show,
a video game.
I have an energetic cord with Fox Mulder from X-Files, and I will not be cutting that.
You have an energetic cord with Overwatch also.
No, stop. Yeah, don't tell anybody my secrets.
And I don't know.
Cords with Blizzard.
Actually, Blizzard needs to get my cord away from them. And one thing that I do, I've been doing this for a long time without even knowing what I was doing. Really quick cord cutting thing that I do sometimes. I remember one time. This is a story I always tell. I was in college and I made a new friend, and I was like. And sometimes it's important to cut cords with people you're like excited to be around, because you lose yourself in them, right? And I made a new friend, and we were spending all this time together, and blah blah blah. And one day I actually skipped class to hang out with them, and I was like, okay, hold on a second, like I'm getting a little too enmeshed here. And I was, and what I did was that like I was like sitting outside, and I saw a stick. I picked up the stick, and I've been doing this for a long time. Whenever I got frustrated or mad at someone, what I do is that I go outside and I crack sticks in half. But this time I imagined like our connection on an unhealthy level, kind of putting that into the stick and then just going crack.
I actually think
and
that's
fully cracking
a great idea. I've had situations in the past where I do this a lot. Like I deeply bond with people very quickly.
Yeah.
And it's like love at first sight times a million. It's those whirlwind romances.
It's an infatuation.
And an infatuation. It's not even necessarily romantic situations that this happened with,
no.
but it's like it would be as if you met someone and a month later you were married, right? Whenever I start to have that kind of feeling take over, and I think I actually had to write a note to myself where I can't remember what the note was now, but I do remember. It was whenever I start to shuffle my schedule around and intentionally create scheduled space for a person who I've only known for a couple of months, it's happening. And this has happened multiple times for me. I remember a friend I had a couple of years ago wanted me to have a whole section. This was back when I was making paper planners all the time. So this isn't as maybe as weird as it might sound when I say it out loud, but they wanted me to add an entire section of my planner for them. But we had all of these plans to open a craft shop and to do this and to do that. And I didn't recognize it at the time. It wasn't until it had happened a couple of more times with people. Nobody ever asked me to make a spot in my planner for them. This is a very, love them, but a very, me. It's an Aries. Okay, what do you expect? Just kidding. I love you, Aries. My sister's an Aries. She's gonna kill me.
Don't take it
back. It was not until a couple of other times that it happened. And it's not as overt as put a spot in your planner for me or make a whole folder in your planner for me. Or it'd be like if somebody, for our gaming nerds, if someone came in your life and then all of a sudden they were like, make a category in your Discord server that's just for me. Like, or, every Friday you have to post a tweet about me, or, now you have a regular story series on Instagram for our content creators that are listening to visualize this a little more. Put a chair in your living room that's specifically my chair, right? Like whenever someone starts to invade that much space so rapidly, I mean, obviously, like if it's like a couple year relationship or friendship and it's like they're here all the time and I got this chair for you, like it can happen organically and naturally and it feels right. But it's when I feel like I'm having to shuffle my whole life around and make more space for someone that has naturally already been created. And that is when it's like, whoa, hold on a second. I've created a whole spot for this person and I'm starting to bend my life and my schedule around them. And it's disrupting how I live daily in a way that is not healthy. I need to step back from this. I need to get away from this. And it doesn't necessarily mean they need to be banished, cut off, broken up with, removed from your life. It just means let's not talk for a couple of weeks. Like let's
I needed an energetic reset. And that's what I think the core of cord cutting is. Because when I did that, I didn't cut the cord, be like, I'm never talking to them again. Obviously, I liked them. I liked being around them. I just needed to get back in touch with myself for a second.
Who am I? I've become we and I am me. So
yes.
And we are all together.
Yes. And then I was able to reconnect the coin.
Sorry.
and I was able to come back the next day, and we're still friends to this day. So it's still all good. But I was like, okay.
I think mindful cord cutting can salvage. Salvage isn't necessarily the right word. Prevent. It's like preventative cord cutting. Like it can help save things that might have crashed if they had continued in that direction. So it's just staying aware. And this is like mindful shadow work as well. This is being conscious, lucid, and mindful about what you're doing and how you're interacting with people.
Yeah. Constantly. Forever. Turns out. You never stop. I'm so tired. Help me. Please. But I think that also, it's just making sure that, because like I said, the cords that you have that are healthy, it's okay to cut them and then have them reconnect every now and again. You know what I mean? And just sort of have like a fresh opening, a fresh look, a fresh experience with them energetically. I think it's healthy. I think it's good to do that. And because I think a lot of us carry a lot that isn't ours. And cords are not ours. Cords are, it takes two to tango. So I think that as often as possible, when you just feel those cords creating or just getting stronger than usual, it's totally safe and healthy to reset and take a moment and come back home to you. And then the next time you hang out with them, you're going to have a fresh energy to explore between the two of you. It's a cool feeling post friendly cord cutting to sort of like meet up at the coffee shop the next day, and it's just like you get to see them with a new pair of eyes, and it's nice. I like it, and I don't think people utilize that type of magic enough in a way that's less so get away from me and more so let's keep a healthy distance for a little bit as we continue to grow our individuality and then come together right now over me.
Oh my God, I'm bringing it back to the Beatles reference. I love it.
That's all I got.
So does anybody else have anything they want to add about cord cutting or boundaries or?
I think just if you're going to do a cord cutting, make sure that you are backing it up with energetic protections, right? Make sure that you're protecting yourself so that, that cord doesn't just immediately come back, right? Especially if the other person's a practitioner in any sort of way or has like an idea of how these things work, right? So just, make sure that you're doing proper research and that you have a plan going into this.
Yeah.
And so make sure it doesn't have like the rubber band effect and like fly back and slap you in the face energetically. But I would also say, like Shady asked it like earlier if doing a cord cutting is also an opening, and we discussed that a little. And I think that's can be a good or a negative thing, because it's one of those like, it's like when you do a banishing, like when you do a cleansing of your house, and some people like just do sage or whatever, and that gets rid of everything. And then
you have nothing to fill it up with.
And then it's a vacuum that just anything can come in. So you have to be
in the law of matter, right? Nothing is created or destroyed. It's just moved. So make sure that you move something new in.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to be intentional about what you do want to open up to in its place.
Yeah. And usually it helps when you like say your goodbyes and you say what you were thankful for them to show up in, like their circumstances, or maybe like they were really funny at the very least or something. And then at the very least you can have that kind of compass where it's like, okay, these parts of this person didn't fit, but I am thankful for these parts, and that can help also call in more of that
you learned right from your interactions with them at the very least.
Yeah, and it gives you more of a compass point to aim towards, I guess. And the more cord cuttings you do, the more aware you are of the relationships that you have with others. The more you will fight for what aligns with you, and the more that you will stay arm's length from the things that just don't make sense, because cord cuttings are also exhausting. I don't want to be doing this big ass ritual constantly,
I don't want to think about it all the time. And I also, if you're doing it all the time, then you're doing something wrong, probably.
Dare I say, it's true. Like this should be this shouldn't be anything, but to me, this should be a rare occurrence, something that is the little cord cuttings. Yes, like shake the energy off, make that clear. But like these big ones where you're declaring a complete disconnect from this energy signature, it has to be final. It has to be, you have to mean it, or else it's just gonna fizzle right back where it began. So just understand that when you're doing a cord cutting ritual, it's no joke. This is an important mindful spell, and this isn't a spell to do like before you run to work, like this is like something that you
do while you're running to work.
And is there a specific time of the lunar phase where it's best to do cord cutting?
The waning
right
phase,
before the new moon.
So as the moon is becoming smaller.
Yes, like right now.
Right now,
like right now.
All right. I just got to edit tonight, so I want to try again because I feel like I don't even want to say that I didn't do it right, but I feel like I need to do it again. So and then I'll get rid of all of the remnants, and not my chair, not my problem. That's what I say.
Yeah, the new moon is on Sunday, so this is actually like perfect.
So this Saturday would actually be a great time to do it because you've got Saturn's Day and you've got right before a new moon, this waning moon going into a dark moon, a period of rest and recovery.
And new beginnings.
That would be a great time to do it. Now, personally too, I'm a big fan of if you need it done, you don't have to wait, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that a lot of the times the perfectionist can kind of creep in of like, no, I have to wait until the full moon and do it right at midnight.
Yeah.
And I have to buy all this stuff and I need to go buy this and that and it's got to be perfect.
All an illusion.
It prevents you from actually doing the thing because what happens is it rolls around, you don't have your thing, and
then you're like, well, I gotta wait for the next moon, which is a month away.
So now it's like, oh well, I guess I'll wait, and you ended up not doing it, not getting that practice, not getting that experience of actually doing it and trying it. So timing is great, but I would definitely
if you need it, you gotta do it
later. Yeah, don't put it off.
Yeah,
but like I feel like Saturday that would be like a good time. Okay, you got a couple days to prepare. It's not too far in the future where you're gonna forget about it.
Okay,
or in 20 minutes in our Discord.
Yes.
It's also a great time to do something quite like this.
So I think we're probably going to wrap our episode up here because we're pushing around 2 hours. And this is a nice sweet spot for our episode lengths. So I do want to say thank you so much to everyone who came out to the Twitch channel to hear us do this live. And you can catch the edited version of this episode on YouTube tomorrow. It'll be the video episode going up on YouTube, and the podcast version on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and all of the other podcasting apps should be up. It's usually around 6 or 7 in the morning Eastern Standard Time that they're all live. I stay up all night editing, and you can get all of the relevant links. There's a blog post that goes up on celestialcafe.org, and you are welcome to join our Discord server tonight. After this episode's being recorded, we're going to be in the Discord server doing a cord cutting ritual together. So every now and again, we still haven't watched The Last Unicorn yet. So we'll figure that we've got a Last Unicorn movie night coming up.
In the next 2 weeks.
We'll figure it out because we got to watch that. Panthera has to see it.
Yeah. It might have to be until I get back.
So we got some movie nights, and plus Samhain is coming up. So I'm gonna want to watch Hocus Pocus here soon. So we're gonna
and the new one's coming out.
The Hocus Pocus 2 will be out soon. Yeah. I'd also kind of like to watch Practical Magic. And because I mentioned The Craft earlier, I kind of want to rewatch The Craft.
I've never seen any of those.
You've never seen any of those, Dukesley?
I've never seen
Hocus Pocus. Okay, we got so many good movie nights to do.
Okay. We should watch Practical Magic, and everybody has to make midnight margaritas to drink while they watch.
Yes.
That'd be fun. Yeah, you can do a virgin one if you want.
How to make a midnight margarita.
I learned the hard way last year that so Practical Magic is usually on HBO Max. They take it off for streaming in October because they want people to spend the money to
wow.
That is shicey.
So I bought the DVD so I could just like rip it to my computer and have it all the time.
There you go.
Because I get so annoyed. Because like last September, it was like my comfort movie last September, and I was just watching it like all the time. We were having like Practical Magic movie nights for like
It's
a solid
fun.
week in Offbeat.
Yeah.
And then October came around and it wasn't there anymore. And I was like, what? So now I have so if we do watch it and it's not streaming, I have it. So
That's very sneaky.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll leave it to
Very
a corporation. So, so we got some stuff we're going to start doing. I think that what we want to do is on our off weeks where we're not recording an episode, we want to start doing a Discord, like little get together, whether it's a movie night or just a hangout session, maybe a tarot, like we all do a tarot draw spread together or something. You know, we're going to try to work something like that into what we're doing now. And of course we have our Twitter and our Instagram. Our YouTube could use some more subscribers so we get that custom URL unlocked, and we'd love to hear from y'all in a review on the podcasting platforms if you are feeling so inclined and you want to help our little podcast grow. And I suppose that's everything for this episode. The next episode that we're doing is going to be sometime around the first week of September. So we're having a bit of a scheduling conflict. Thanks, Splatoon. I'm kidding. Just kidding. But
it is true.
So it'll be either September 4th, September 8th. We'll figure it out. The full moon.
October.
Oh, I'm looking at. Oh, whoa.
October.
It is. Oh my God. What? Wow. October 4th, October 8th. Because the next full moon is happening on October 9th. So, and does anybody know what phase it's or what astrology sign it's in off the top of their head?
Or no, sorry, not Libra.
No, Aries, right?
Aries, yeah.
So the full moon in Aries, October 9th, is our next podcast episode. And then we'll have a variety episode in October as well, probably around the 20th-ish, sometime in that ballpark. And we haven't got the subject picked out. So if there's anything you're dying to hear us chat about, let us know in the Discord server or on one of our social media. And maybe we'll do dream work or something. Whatever.
We'll figure it
Whatever
out.
happens.
We have a few topics, but if there's something that you really want us to,
Yeah,
we
let
got
us
you.
know.
So, I guess what do y'all want to let everyone know before we sign out? I'm back to regular streaming. So I'm actually going to be tomorrow on my channel, Friday, the 23rd of September. I'll be doing my first episode of Midnight Study Sesh in a very long time, which is my ASMR style study with me, dark academia kind of esoteric deep dive. We deep dive the esoteric symbolism of tarot cards. I'm going to be doing a recap because it's been a couple of months since I first launched the series. Broken arm ruined everything for me. Or it slowed me down, I should say. We're going to be recapping the first three cards that I looked at. The Fool, I almost call him the Fool, the Wizard, the Fool, the Magician, and the High Priestess. I'm going to be kind of recapping and just getting back up to speed with where we were on the research. So that's going to be tomorrow. And I'm doing a lot of sandbox games on my channel, back in my modded Minecraft stuff. And I'm playing Wildflowers, the new farming simulator that just came out, which is very cozy and very fun. You're a witch. It's got a coven and like witchcraft and spell. Like you get a broom, you get a wand, and there's eventually going to be, I think, fast travel with a broom and stuff, and there's romance, and it's very inclusive and diverse.
It's on my list.
It's a lot of fun. It's on PC and Switch. I'm loving it. So that, and then a little bit of mixture. There's like a rabbit, like a little bunny sandbox game where you're like a bunny or something. It's like farming as a bunny rabbit. That I'm gonna try out.
Play The Sims.
Yeah, I've got Sims 4. So just all kinds of goodies. So lots of cozy gaming. I got some YouTube videos planned. I'm actually, one more. I got so much to say. I'm sorry. Back in content creation now. I'm going to be a motor mouth about it. But there's a charity stream on my channel next Wednesday, the 28th, around 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is going to be tarot readings. Panthera is going to be joining me as a guest. We're raising funds for the Trans Empowerment Project, helping support trans youth, which is a super awesome cause. I'm very excited to raise funds for them. And one more thing. Oh, my next YouTube video is going to be witchy related. I'm going to do my full tarot deck collection, which is like 40 or 50 tarot decks. Maybe not that many.
Wow.
Maybe about 40. 40 sounds about right. So I'm going to be going through all my tarot and oracle decks and doing not an in-depth review of them, just kind of like glossing over them and showing all of my collection. So that should be up next week, I'm hoping. And that's all I gotta say. I'm Hey Shady Lady. You can find me Hey Shady Lady everywhere. Okay.
Hi, I'm Dukesley. Thanks for listening. I'm streaming next week. Should be cool. Tarot streams. Yes. Splatoon, maybe, if I'm feeling it. It's actually gonna be a nightmare to set up. I'll do it. I'll stream Splatoon. Watch me. And
I will.
astrology readings. Oh, thank you. Oh, that was meant to be threatening, not actually. Okay. Don't watch me. Or else. This isn't going very well. I think that my big thing I want to talk about is my astrology readings. I'm really excited. They're on my website, phasey.love. They have been so rewarding, so cool to do for others. Still coming to terms with the fact that people trust me with something as, I don't know, vulnerable as their birth chart. So thank you all for receiving me and choosing me to help you with their stars. And keep up the good work out there, homies. I love you. This isn't good. This was really bad.
Oh my God. That's so romantic.
That went terribly. Someone else go. I choose fuchsia.
Okay. I don't have any plans right now. I don't know. I have been sucked into Splatoon for the last 2 weeks, and so I haven't put out any content. And I will be out of town for the next 2 weeks because of Splatoon. So I might have videos coming up on my YouTube if I can get stuff done. But otherwise, I will be back in 2 weeks and making YouTube videos then.
Enjoy your vacation.
I have a few book reviews and stuff to do, so those will be the next video game review and a book review for my YouTube channel. But until then, I will be playing competitive Splatoon at a tournament, so that'll be fun.
You're gonna kill it.
We'll see. I'm like 3 years out of competitive. I'm a little not up on my game compared to people who have been playing the last 3 years, so we'll see.
True.
And I have a lot of stuff coming up, actually. I've been slacking, and now everything is hitting me all at once. So I'm going to be streaming, fingers crossed, tomorrow. Either mini making or tarot, if I can get that going. I am also going to be releasing a video this upcoming Wednesday. It's a collab with a bunch of other YouTube witches, Magical Crafting, the Norse Witch, the Occultist, and a bunch of others. We're all doing a collaboration video. My video is going to be about, it's a spell for self-confidence for content creators. So if you're interested in that, definitely keep your eyes peeled. I'm really excited for this one. This collab is really cool. We each got like a list of things that we had to include and into making like a spell or something. So each of our spells are different, but we had like criteria that we had to include in it, which is really cool. That's coming out on Wednesday. And then also my work, I'm going to be doing tarot with Shady next Wednesday as well too for charity. And then on Thursday, I'm going to be having my birthday subathon or donathon event. I haven't decided exactly what yet, but it's going to be fun. There's going to be lots of rewards and fun tarot readings and all kinds of cool stuff. So lots of new stuff coming. Definitely keep your eye peeled on the YouTube.
I'm going to do it.
All right. Thank you everyone so much for coming out to hang out for the recording of this. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. And we will see you all in the next episode of the Celestial Cafe podcast. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.